just did there, Dave.
Have a better showing. That was a great left-handed kill shot, left corner.
Remember, Dave, it was Armando at this event qualifying in April, winning his first round and then taking out Alan Garner. If he wins here against Charlie Shanks, he'll take on the #1 seed, Sean Lenning, later tonight. It was Alan Garner who's the #1 seed, Dave. At the HBC2, he upset him and then lost to Nadia Alvarado.
Well, it was Armando Ortiz at the Spring Classic at the LAAC earlier this year, defeating Sean Lenning to go up against Nadia Alvarado, where he lost. And that was on that string of nice runs that he was having. And now we've seen sort of a different Mondo, but he looks more improved since the U.S. Open, Dave. And it's because of shots like that.
Well, Dave, we saw a Mondo that I've never seen before in game #1 in Idaho against Charlie Shanks. Just looked completely out of sorts, just really had nothing to offer. Lost that game 21-3, came back to make the second game respectable against Charlie Shanks, but certainly it wasn't the Mondo, Dave, that's so explosive and so dangerous.
One serves two, Shanks serving two, Mondo Ortiz.
Not a good shot there from Charlie. And Armando overhitting the back wall kill as well. Charlie's a very steady player, Dave. Doesn't necessarily have the flashiest game, but he does everything pretty well with a really good serve, as you just saw there, Dave. He plays the ceiling pretty well. He shoots the ball pretty well. He moves pretty well, and he's got good conditioning. He really doesn't have any weakness in his game, Dave. And that's why we saw Charlie Shanks come within 2 points of winning the U.S. Open just a couple of weeks ago. Great serve from Mondo and a beautiful pickup from Charlie Shanks. And you see Charlie going up to the roof there. These two, Dave, about a foot difference in height. Armando about 5'3", Charlie Shanks about 6'1". I know we have that officially listed, Dave, but I'm just sort of guesstimating here.
Look at that serve right there from Charlie.
It's not quite Manute Bol and
Spud Webb, but it is.
It is a discrepancy. I was going to say Muggsy Bogues, actually.
Okay.
Who actually is 5'3".
Okay.
Spud Webb is closer to 5'8", as I'm sure you know. Mondo has the prettiest misses that you'll ever see, Dave. They just look so good, but come up 1 or 2 inches short. It seems like, Dave, if the court was about 39.5 feet, Armando would win every event. He's always just a couple of inches short. Look at that second serve. And, Dave, there's nothing more frustrating than receiving a second serve and watching the ball crack out right in front of you. You think that you've got an opportunity to get yourself in the rally, and then you get aced on a second serve. Very deflating. Ooh, Armando.
That has to hurt right there. Charlie Shanks is really laid into that ball.
Well, it's like what an unnamed pro player told me last night, Dave, before the meeting. When you get that revolving door shot, you drill your opponent right in the ear as hard as you can. Then the court opens wide for you.
And you're not going to name this unnamed player?
I'm actually not going to. And you won't be able to get it out of me.
And by pro, you mean somebody who actually qualified, or just somebody that's in the
top 8? I know you're going here, and I won't reveal that. I'll just say a pro.
Okay. Score here is 2-5. Referee is Luis Cordova.
And Luis Cordova, Dave, fresh off that incredible victory, now up in the hot seat. Luis Cordova, Dave, will be facing Nadia Alvarado in a rematch of last year's round of 16 match. Excuse me, I keep saying last year, Dave, but it feels like last year. It was late March of this year here at this very club. He lost that match 21-9, 21-10 to Nadia Alvarado Jr. I know that I'll be receiving an email within the next 45 seconds telling me that the scores were 12-10, but I'm saying that it was somewhere in that 9-10 range in both games. So I'm hedging a little bit, but needless to say, it wasn't that close.
Well, at least you're admitting it. Okay. This is a timeout called from Armando Ortiz. Charlie Shanks up 8-2 here. It's the 8th seed versus the 9 seed. Both of these guys, Dave, were technically, statistically, tied for the 8th spot to be invited to this event. Charlie Shanks got the invite because he defeated Armando Ortiz in Idaho, and in the one-on-one head-to-head matchups, Charlie Shanks had the, I guess you would call it the tiebreaker advantage, and therefore he gets the invite. But guess what happens? They have to play each other in Charlie's very first round.
Well, it's fitting, don't you think, Dave, that these two would actually draw each other, Dave, because it really is the ultimate tiebreaker. We're going to find out who deserved that number 8 spot, and right now it's Armando at number 9, despite being tied with Charlie Shanks in points, but Charlie Shanks leading in that head-to-head.
Now, isn't it, it is interesting. These guys are facing each other, and they're doing it here live, but it was all done randomly. That's the strange part, is because it was just all part of a random draw. They pulled their names out of the hat last
Is there
night.
any such thing as random, Dave?
Well, if you ask Sean Lenny, no.
Okay. More of a philosophical debate.
It's a second serve here.
David, it just doesn't seem like Charlie Shanks is doing much, yet there he is with a huge lead here just 6 minutes into this first game. And Armando Ortiz, Dave, has really had a tough draw here early in this Pro Tour season, drawing nothing but Irish in the first 3 events. As you know, Dave, Irish rarely lose to Americans.
Well, they don't, actually.
Oh, they never.
They just don't lose.
Oh, they just don't lose.
Right.
Them. Okay.
So it doesn't look good for Mondo. Looking to the right, that's usually selling that serve to the left, and that's where he went. Ball, ironically, ends up exactly where he was looking.
It was actually a really bad serve. Charlie Shanks making a terrible error there. Armando is a little wild with his serve, Dave. He reminds me of a young Sandy Koufax just trying to throw the ball as hard as he possibly could. I think when Mondo learns to take a little bit off that serve, Dave, he'll have so much more control. You won't see these wild misses, almost like a golfer, Dave, that is trying to hit the ball 360 yards and they're spraying the ball 3 or 4 fairways over. Once they learn to harness that power and take just a little bit off that swing, you see him finding the middle of the fairway at about 320 yards instead of the middle of the woods, 360 yards.
9 serves 3. It's the simple green race 4-8, and just a little tether back to that front wall. Mondo Ortiz gets that ball back and the side out.
Well, it looked like an ace by Charlie Shanks, but Armando just getting his fingertips on that shot and rolling it out. And that looked like another ace. And Dave, was that a replay?
It was the exact same shot that Mondo made earlier.
On the same serve. Speaking a little bit to Mondo, Dave, I think he's lost a little bit of confidence in himself, and I think that's one of the things, Dave, that made him so good. I remember, Dave, last spring, Armando drew Alan Garner's name, and he was fist pumping. He wanted to play Alan Garner. Alan Garner was ranked number 1 at that time, seeded number 1 in that event. And yesterday, Dave, he draws Charlie Shanks, and I saw his shoulders drop and his head drop, and he just looked at me and said, anybody but Shanks. And not a good sign. Not a good sign for me either when he was actually hoping to pull me. But that's another issue.
I don't know where the place that Mondo was in his life at the time that he was coming back from that open heart surgery, and I think he wanted to prove to himself that he could play at that high level. And he used that motivation when he played here in March, April tournament that we had in Tucson at the very end of March. I think the first day of April was the finals. But, you know, he seemed to have a different sort of persona back then when he had something to prove. And then in my talks with him, he was saying, I felt like I was going to die. The doctor said there was a slight chance, like a 40% chance I wouldn't make it through surgery. So Mondo Ortiz, about 20 months ago, 18 months ago, coming out of open heart surgery, and now he's playing on this big, huge platform. Needs to find a way to get that Mondo back.
He's in search of the Mondo magic. This, Dave, eerily similar to game number 1 in Idaho, where it was Charlie Shanks dominating and cruising to a 21-3 win. Right now he's up 11-3. And that's a nice shot there from Mondo. Takes his time there, forces Charlie to commit to the center of the court.
Mondo's going to go to the left here. And there's another point for Mondo Ortiz. It's not a great serve. I mean, Charlie doesn't even really have to move his feet, and that's not what you're trying to do. He's trying to push Charlie side to side on that. 5-12.
Armando, Dave, has served 3 unreturned serves. None of those 3, Dave, have been good serves. Charlie Shanks just making errors. And those are accounting for 60% of his points at this point. I did not need Gene Casimoto to do the math for me there.
Dug out from Charlie Shanks. Mondo has a great left from that angle, and it just shoots by, but
there were 3 balls in that rally, Dave, that Mondo should have put away, including that last left-handed shot. He's hitting the ball right back at Charlie, almost as though he thinks he's going to overpower Charlie and force Charlie into airs, but Charlie's accustomed to power, Dave.
And he's very long, too. I mean, he just doesn't have to move much, and he gets his hand on the ball.
Let's not forget, Dave, Charlie Shanks has played a lot of tournament matches against Desi Keegan, Robbie McCarthy, and
Brady.
Also Paul Brady. I mean, these are 3 of the hardest hitters in the history of the sport. And Mondo, obviously, Dave, also a hard hitter. And that's just an inexplicable error there, Dave. I don't think there's anybody in the gallery that would have missed that shot.
Well, I know I would have, but I'm not in the gallery.
It's true. That's why I didn't include you. Love that 2-all pass there from Charlie, and Mondo just unable to catch up to that shot. Just an amazing angle, though, on that 2-all pass from Charlie Shanks, Dave. And this is what you see, Dave, when you watch somebody with supreme confidence. He doesn't need to shoot the ball from everywhere on the court, Dave, because he knows he can win these rallies. He knows he can push his opponent around with pass shots. He doesn't put pressure on himself to be perfect with every shot. And you can see his entire demeanor, Dave, just very relaxed, very much in control of himself. And that's, Dave, something I didn't see much from Charlie Shanks in the first 3 or 4 years he was playing pro handball, starting in 2007, where he did look very tense in the court, Dave. I saw him lose a match to John Iglesias, lose close matches to Alan Garner, Sean Lenning.
Well, there was a big knock on Charlie Shanks for many years in Ireland, where they touted him as being the next heir apparent to Tony Healy and Paul Brady and competing with Owen Kennedy. And there was a time frame for about 3 or 4 years when they said, oh, Charlie Shanks, he's supposed to be the guy, but he's not acting like it. Well, guess what? He's now acting like it. He's doing everything now that he was promised to that he would be doing. He's delivering now. Maybe I'd say it's almost 6 years later. I remember in 2006 at the Ulster Open, people were commenting about Charlie not living up to his potential. But now, Dave, it seems to me that he is the guy. And if I were to put my finger on one player that I believe could win the race this year, I believe it could be Charlie Shanks.
Well, he's in a great position right now, Dave. He's got a finals finish and also a quarterfinal finish.
He was about 1 point away from being at least a semifinal finish, too, in Idaho. Instead of that quarterfinal finish.
That's true. he would have played Alan Garner there in the semifinals had he converted that match point against Nadi Jr. He beat Alan Garner 2 weeks later. He also beat Luis Moreno in that same event. Those are the guys he would have played in Idaho had he converted match point against Nadi Jr.
Oh, look at that shot right there from Charlie Shanks. Beautiful camera angle, too. Just catching that bullet come right out of the pipe.
Charlie Shanks losing to Nadi Jr. Nadi Jr., Dave, doesn't feel much pressure playing Charlie Shanks. Never bothered to learn his name during that match. Still doesn't know it, actually. Look at Charlie hit that perfect ceiling shot on that beautiful Armando Ortiz serve. Smart shot from Armando, steps in and takes Charlie's time away from him, doesn't allow him to get himself back into the point.
6-serve-17. It's a testament to Charlie Shanks, though, because Mondo looks a little bit better than he did in Idaho, and Shanks is still just rolling right through.
Well, I agree with you, Dave, but Mondo, Dave, is like a starting pitcher in baseball. Momentum can always change with Armando quickly. Armando can score points in bunches, Dave. And I can tell you, Mondo does not think he's out of this game. I know the score is 8-17, but Mondo now really starting to feel it. That's a difficult shot, Dave. When you're so close to that right wall, going for that right corner kill, if you don't hit it perfectly, that ball will catch the sidewall and hit the floor before the front wall. If you don't make perfect contact, Dave, you won't have the right spin on that shot. And I don't like that shot from Mondo. Mondo had a huge setup there and just looked like he swung as hard as he could, Dave, without any thought whatsoever to the direction of that shot. And Charlie Shanks, Dave, just doesn't even look like he's breaking much of a sweat.
18 serves 8. This is the first game, 2-21 tiebreaker to 11. Men's round of 16. And these are only a 12-man bracket, so it's technically the round of 12.
Charlie Shanks right now, Dave, looks like you at a 24-hour buffet. You know, you're not pressured. You know, you don't have to rush yourself, and you just take your time and I've seen you, David, buffets that end just 2 hours after you arrive, and you're not the same person.
Bring a newspaper, have my first meal, read the sports section, go back for the second one, let it digest a little bit.
Those buffets that close, Dave, you're eating with your mouth open. It's actually pretty embarrassing. Nice corner kill there from Charlie, and that's a get that Mondo needs to make, Dave. Mondo needs to put pressure on Charlie right now, Dave, by getting himself into these rallies. He's giving Charlie too many easy rally-ending shots on marginal shot making. Now, obviously, Dave, Charlie Shanks is playing well, but Mondo, Dave, needs to push himself a little bit more here.
This is game number 1. John Bike versus Alan Garner at 1:30 Mountain Time. It's 1:22 right now. We're not done with the first game yet.
And another air there from Mondo. That's the 13th ball he skipped with his right hand in game number 1 here, Dave. That's a very high number.
Boy, that ball looks like it just skids over that line. He hits it so hard, and Charlie Shanks takes the first one, 21-8. We're going to take a quick timeout here in the booth. We'll be back in just a bit for game number 2. It's the men's round of 16. Charlie Shanks taking down Mondo Ortiz, 21-8 for Linda Manning and Omar Lemus, as well as Dave Fink. My name is Dave Vincent. We'll be back in just a bit. Stay here at racefor8.com.
I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
For 20 years, the Inner City Handball Association has educated, mentored, and served young people through handball. Young people that participate in the Inner City Handball Association programs have a high graduation rate from high school and continue on to college. Inner City Handball teams are good athletes, good students, and good ambassadors for the sport of handball. We need your help to continue our work. Inner City Handball Association is a registered 501c3 tax-exempt charity. Please donate today. Thank you.
You guys have 1 minute. Goes by really fast. 3 minutes? They just changed that yesterday in the meeting. Decided on that it would be 3 minutes. A lot of stuff to discuss. How many points? How are the points calculated? Rally scoring and like the ref. So 30 seconds. I think they're gonna. Yeah. 15 seconds. All right, guys. Time in.
And we are back live here in Tucson, Arizona at the TRC for game number 2 between Mondo Ortiz and Charlie Shanks. Mondo scored 8 points in that first game. Charlie takes him down, and he comes right out with that serve and kills it in the front right corner, Dave.
Mondo looking to get off to a good start here, obviously, Dave, but Charlie Shanks flat killing the return of serve. And that's a smart shot there from Charlie. You see a lot of guys try and shoot that ball from off balance, Dave, with their left. Charlie just drives the ball and resets the rally, and look what he's done. Mondo with a terrible shot. And this is a very sloppy rally that ends just as it should have, Dave, with a terrible hand air. Today, Dave, is the business end of the event, as we'll be putting in a 16-hour day here with the headsets on. And then we'll immediately go in different directions.
Earlier today, it was Luis Cordova winning in a tiebreaker over Tommy Little. Andy Nett advances to the round of 8. He will face Luis Moreno coming up in a couple matches, and Cordova will face Nate Alvarado Jr. We do have a lot of matches to go, Dave Fink.
I actually believe, Dave, that Andy Nett is playing just about the same game as Luis Moreno, but I think Luis Moreno will have a big advantage in that match, Dave, because he didn't play a 2.5-hour match earlier in the day. He'll be fresh. Although Luis Moreno, Dave, is coming off that ankle injury at the U.S. Open, so we don't know
and
how he'll respond.
I live in the same town as the guy, and I don't even know because we just don't see him. He doesn't come down and practice. He plays soccer.
I heard that he's stopped playing soccer now.
See, you know more than me, and we live in the same town.
I have better sources. Armando's off to a really nice start here, Dave. It doesn't matter if you lose game number 1 21-8 or 21-20 or 21-0. It starts at 0-0 here in the second game, and that's what Mondo's got to be thinking about, Dave. You can actually be to your advantage, Dave, to lose in a blowout in the first game. It takes the pressure off of you. You've gotten your bad shots out of the way. Now you can just focus on what's in front of you. I think, Dave, it can be more difficult to lose a close first game, and you find yourself thinking about some of those missed opportunities in game number 2. Mondo didn't have any missed opportunities that cost him that first game, and now he's freewheeling it here.
Mondo serving here at 4-0. Referee is Luis Cordova.
That's a beautiful off-speed kill there, Dave. Was that a changeup from Charlie Shanks?
Certainly a change of pace for him there. Normally he hits it as hard as he can. That one he just did about 50%.
Not a good shot there from Mondo. Had a good opportunity to end the rally there, and now Mondo trying to take that ball with his left hand off the left side wall, but that ball dips as soon as it hits the left side wall. I thought Mondo should have played that ball behind himself, taking it with his right off the back wall, Dave. And that's not a good serve from Charlie. And Mondo, Dave, should have been closer to the side wall there to pick up that ball, because if it bounces twice, the point's over, but if it bounces once into that side wall, he'll have a good chance to pick it up. Now it's Charlie with that amazing spin serve that he hits. I think that was just a little bit short, Dave.
It was called short. 2-4, second serve. Charlie awarded his team Tucson Gunslinger shirt last night, and he said, what is this color right here? I don't wear this color. I said, well, you're going to.
Well, he doesn't have to.
It's a team color.
He actually can accept the fine and wear whatever he wants.
That's a good point.
That would actually benefit both of us. I wish he would. Armando, Dave, a pretty nice start here, but he's fallen back into those old habits. A lot of skips, and that looked like an ace serve from Charlie Shanks. Armando hoping that ball was called short, but he doesn't appeal. I think he knew it was good. Most of my aces, Dave, are agreed by the referee and the linesman and then overturned by you. That's a beautiful left there from Mondo. You see that shoulder turn, he raises that elbow, creates a lot of torque, and just blasts that ball cross court behind Charlie Shanks. And now, Dave, that you've had your In-N-Out burgers delivered, I can pretty much say whatever I want. You can't defend yourself because you got a mouthful of fries, beef, and milkshakes.
Score here is 5-5. I've learned to talk with a full mouth, so I'm okay.
It's too bad for me.
Now, how could your call be overturned by me when the ref and the line judge both agreed with the call? There's no way you can appeal without first going to the line judges.
Well, I'm saying that the ref called the ball good, the line judges agreed with the referee, and then it was overturned by the instant replay official.
I believe that the rule should state that if it should stop at the first challenge, and that should be the line judges first, and if that is an agreement, then there's no way to go to the instant replay. I think if your line judges disagree also, then you can go to the replay. You see what I'm saying? the first line of defense, we'll call it. Since you make all the rules for this organization, I thought I'd just tell you like that.
Well, I agree with you. I wish that would have been the rule about 2 hours ago.
Thought it was.
Terrible second serve there from Mondo. And a worse left fly pass attempt from Mondo. He hit that ball straight into the floor, Dave. It's interesting, Dave. In the round of 16, Mondo has played really 3 top 5 players. They're not ranked in the top 5 yet, Dave. Robbie McCarthy doesn't travel to events, so he doesn't have that ranking, and Charlie Shanks just building that ranking now, but
will be soon.
But you think in the round of 16, a player of Mondo's ranking should be playing somebody in that 6 to 8 range.
Like you.
Right.
Or Tommy Little.
But instead, Dave, he's really had the bad end of the blind draws. And he's ended up drawing these guys that are really 2 of the top 4 players in the world. So it's frustrating and unlucky at the same time.
But yet he keeps coming out. Shows you
that's my problem. I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I'd get smarter than that.
It's either really stupid or very smart.
I don't see how it can be really smart.
Commendable.
So I don't see how it can be commendable either. I'm going to just fly 3,000 miles every other week to feel terrible about myself. That's commendable. I could just be at home with my lovely wife and loving my life, but now I think I'll leave her, travel 3,000 miles, fly all day, and just feel horrible about myself. Good decision making.
Asking for a towel timeout. You're watching the Race for 8 stop here in Tucson, Arizona. My name is Dave Vincent, alongside David Fink, where we are catching Charlie Shanks versus Mondo Ortiz here in this round of 12. And you're wondering, what does round of 12 mean? Well, we only have 12-man stops. And
It's
Dave
still the round of 16, though, Dave.
It technically is in the round of 16, and I'm just trying to be snazzy with the way I'm wording it. But here in the round of 16, where it's a 12-man tournament, it's Charlie Shanks versus Mondo Ortiz. Mondo Ortiz has 8. There's a little contact there, not called from the referee. Mondo goes for the kill shot and gets it. Now it's a side out. Mondo serving at 8-5. Now you see a side out after exchanging ceiling shots, Charlie Shanks and Mondo Ortiz. Mondo goes down with that left hand. Charlie's unable to get it. And there's another side out. Mondo holding strong here, now up 8-5. Mondo is staying quite aggressive right now, up 9-5 here in game number 2 after losing the first one 21-8. He has more points now in game number 2 than he did in that first game combined. And we're early here. This ball thought it was going to go all the way to the back to the front wall, off the back wall, and it checks up when it hits the ceiling. There's a quick side out. Mondo Ortiz back into the box here. He represents the Salt Lake City Aces. Lonnie Stallsberg, Matt Stallsberg, Ruben Garza, Andrew. The crew in Salt Lake City is your handball cleanup crew. And they will have a stop coming up in February. It's going to be right before the collegiate tournament, or I should say it's after it. Actually before, sorry. Had to look at the schedule. And a point for Mondo Ortiz, who looks like he's in complete control right now, up 11-5 here. Both of the round of 16 matches that we filmed earlier today and provided for you on this live broadcast went to tiebreakers, and Mondo Ortiz is trying to make this one go there too, up 12-5 now. Boy, that had a weird sound right there, almost like Mondo's fist hit the ground when he served that. He told me one time before that he does sometimes hit the ground with his kill shots. He cups his hand, and you see some players do that. He cups his hand and just drags it around the floor. Score here is 5-12. Short ball, second serve.
I don't see the urgency here from Charlie Shanks right now. Charlie Shanks now with a double fault just looks lackadaisical, Dave. As it's Mondo Ortiz pushing himself, and Charlie Shanks seems to be content to just go through the motions here in this second game. And I believe, Dave, Armando Ortiz is one of the most dangerous players you can play in a tiebreaker. I don't think Charlie Shanks wants to find himself in a race to 11 against Armando Ortiz. But right now, it looks like that's where we're headed, Dave. And Mondo knows how to take care of that behind the back shot there. Gives himself some more margin for error as he drives that passing shot about a foot high straight down the side wall. And this is the Armando Ortiz, Dave, that I expected to see, and he's finally arrived. After two lackluster events and a lackluster first game here, it's Armando Ortiz completely dominating a guy, Dave, that we consider to be in the top 5 in the world right now.
16-35.
And this, Dave, has turned into a rout here in the second game. Armando Ortiz with an ace now down the right, and he's just 4 points from winning this second game. Charlie Shanks, Dave, looks a little bit too emotionless to me right now. Doesn't seem to have much fire in him right now. As you know, Dave, it can be very difficult coming back after such a great event. In California just a couple weeks ago, he defeated Alan Garner and then Luis Moreno, two guys that he'd never beat before, then narrowly lost to his countryman, the buzzsaw Robbie McCarthy. Led 9-7 in the tiebreaker there before coming up short, but it looks like he might be a little bit flat, Dave, and it can take a long time to get over that kind of event. Charlie Shanks didn't have to do much in game number 1 as Armando handed it to him on a silver platter with 13 airs with his right hand and a number of other mistakes. Charlie Shanks has not been able to find that next gear to stay with Armando here in game number 2. As it's been all Armando here.
Scores 17-12.
And an unreturned serve there for Armando Ortiz.
1835. Second serve.
Armando's keeping Charlie Shanks in the back court off his back foot, and Armando. Charlie Shanks unable to step into any of these shots right now. And that's what happens, Dave, against Armando. All that power, Dave, and you're never really set. And that is just a terrible call there from our referee. Unfortunately for our referee, Dave, the referee committee is watching his every move, and that will be certainly mentioned in his write-up. All the refs, Dave, are handed a written report at the end of each day. It's not for the sensitive, Dave. It can be pretty brutal when you get those report cards. Armando, Dave, looks to be on his way, I believe, to a quarterfinal berth here. I don't see anything Charlie Shanks can do to stop the Mondo Express.
Well, he's certainly going to work toward getting the first serve in the tiebreaker, Dave.
Well, he's secured that, Dave, and 3 minutes from now, we'll be watching our third consecutive tiebreaker here in the round of 16 at the Y2K race stop number 3.
Okay, 3 minutes are on the clock. We're going to come up right around the corner for Linda Manning and Omar Lemus and Dave Fink. My name is Dave Vincent. We're going to have the tiebreaker between Mondo Ortiz and Charlie Shanks coming up next. You stick around here at racefor8.com.
It's gonna be fast matches. Very fast.
Yeah,
It'll be like 10-minute matches.
but that's why they're doing it very fast. Because like the TV, yeah, like they told us that they can have an hour and a half, 2-hour matches, 2.5 hours. That's these short matches to get into TV.
But you know what? I think you ever watch tennis? How long they take? I don't even play tennis. I love how it takes so long. I mean, it's about 3-hour match. It's wonderful. This is the way this should
I
be.
think you're gonna have to win by 2. So.
That won't come up very often. Also, like you say, I think the tennis.
1 minute.
And we are back live in Tucson at the TRC for the wrap-up of this match between Charlie Shanks and Armando Ortiz.
Has not been a high-quality match, Dave. It was game number 1 where Armando was really terrible, to put it bluntly, Dave. And game number 2, Charlie Shanks took a 20-minute nap. So we'll see, Dave, if these guys can meet somewhere in the middle and give us some great handball action here in this tiebreaker.
Armando Ortiz earns that first serve. We're at 3-minute and 45-second mark. Should only be 3 minutes between games, Dave. And I know that you're going to have to put that on your referee's critique.
It's actually, Dave, a pretty long report card. You never want to see a lot of writing on your report card. I know you did growing up, so you can relate to it. But I actually write in red pen. A lot of people, Dave, type now, but I feel like it has a much better effect, Dave, when they see that red pen highlighting all their errors.
Not only did Charlie Shanks get the side out immediately, but he also got the first point here in the tiebreaker, going to 11. And you said the person that scores first in the breaker has a 73% chance?
73, well, not chance, but a 73% win percentage.
Okay.
And we saw it in that last tiebreaker, Dave, with Luis Cordova. We also saw it in the first tiebreaker this morning with Andy Nett, who raced off to a 5-0 lead and won that tiebreaker 11-7.
And there is a side out. Armando Ortiz now serving here. We're going to 11 points. This is the men's round of 16. Armando Ortiz lost to Charlie Shanks in Idaho.
Now, Dave, the probability says that Armando Ortiz will actually come back and win this tiebreaker, because otherwise it would be the first scorer winning 3 in a row.
Okay.
So if Armando does win this tiebreaker, Dave, that would be 2 out of 3, which is very close to our sample size. We've been tracking matches, Dave, since 2006. So that is, we've got over 300 matches, Dave, in our system that have gone to tiebreakers that we've recorded.
Well, you see a momentum change here now as Shanks has 2 and Ortiz has 0. Ball could have been called short.
Well, Charlie Shanks, Dave, got a wake-up call there between games number 2 and 3. He actually was sleepwalking in game number 2. I think that's a smart shot there from Armando, Dave, because you know that ball comes down with that awkward spin when it hits the front wall and ceiling. And that's a great shot from Armando, but Charlie tracks it down, and Armando makes the error. That's a shot, Dave, I believe Armando goes for too often, that left-handed fly kill off the left side wall with that ball spinning down, and that's a very difficult shot to hit with your strong hand, let alone your offhand.
I think Armando can take about 4 steps backwards and catch that ball coming up, or maybe even do a quick punch fist off the ground, as opposed to taking that fly kill opportunity. That ball might have gone right into the ground there.
No, actually, that ball was headed for the left side wall about 8 feet high. Charlie Shanks now, Dave, has added about 12 MPHs here in this tiebreaker. He's put a lot more zip on the ball, and that's putting a lot of pressure on Armando right now. And you see Charlie Shanks breaking over the top of that ball, Dave, as you say, with his left hand, and runs the ball away from Armando. And that's so frustrating, Dave, as a player, when you think you've got to look at a shot and the ball just jumps 2 feet away from you. You don't even have a swing. I, Dave, believe that play should have continued there. I'm not sure about your opinion, but it was Charlie Shanks kind of in a bad position there and bailed out by a hinder call. Slightly screened, Dave, but that's something we talked about at the meeting last night. And now it's Charlie Shanks with an unreturned serve, and now a terrible start here, Dave, for Armando Ortiz, who finds himself on the wrong end of a 6-0 scoreline. I think, as I was about to say, Dave, Armando does take a timeout here. it's difficult, Dave, in a tiebreaker. Do you call your timeout at 3-0 or 2-0? Because these tiebreakers, Dave, can become extremely exhausting. And if you run out of timeouts at 6-2 or 7-2, what happens if you're winded later in the tiebreaker? You can't catch your breath and you've got no way to stop the clock. So it's kind of that gray area there, Dave, where you're at the end of the match, so you're already fatigued. You have a little bit more adrenaline in that tiebreaker. You're pushing yourself a little bit harder, and it's more likely that you will be tired, Dave, and lose those legs. And you might need a tiebreaker later in the tiebreaker to try and make a final push, and if you don't have those timeouts. But then again, Dave, if you get down 6 or 7-0, it could be over in just a couple of minutes.
Well, Mondo looked so good in game number 2, but it goes back to what we discussed earlier. Sometimes you come out and give all that energy that you have, and then you just feel flat, and you're unable to break through the glass that you shattered in either certain rallies or portions of a previous game.
I agree with you, Dave. It's definitely a phenomenon in sports. And we saw today, I believe, with myself and also with Tommy Little.
And we're seeing it here with Mondo Ortiz.
And it can be just one shot, Dave, that doesn't go your way that you think you should have made, and all of a sudden the air is let out of the balloon. It's like you have a needle.
Somehow Charlie Shanks missed that ball, and I actually thought that could have been called short to begin with.
That was a terrible miss from Charlie Shanks on a really bad kill shot attempt from Armando Ortiz.
Score here is 1-6. Mondo finally on the board in this tiebreaker. That's going to be tough to retrieve. Charlie's long enough to do it, though.
Armando now going to the 3-wall shot, Dave. That's the first 2 3-wall shots that we've seen in a long time in this match, back to back. And Armando goes for the shot, and I don't like that shot from Charlie. And a good call from our ref, and terrible shot making there from Armando Ortiz, who had Charlie Shanks in a very bad spot with a couple of very easy setup opportunities. And that's a beautiful left from Armando Ortiz. That's why he's got one of the best offhands in the sport, Dave. I believe he's got 2 strong hands.
2-6. Mondo Ortiz now here trying to make a comeback in the tiebreaker, down 0-6 at one point, hits a crack. Now at 3, that ball just kind of shimmied after hitting the crack.
Well, Charlie Shanks went for the wrong shot there, Dave. It looked like he was trying to hit some sort of paddle kill, and he does the same thing there, exactly the same shot. Looks like he's trying to put that cross spin on it and just dive the ball in the left corner, but it's not the right shot, particularly not when you're facing an opponent who's on a roll.
I think Mondo's actually hitting a natural hook into that side wall, and that's why you're seeing some fuzzy stuff going on deep. And there is Charlie Shanks going to call a timeout. If he's not doing it, he's going to certainly do one soon. Ortiz now barreling back after being down 6-0 against Charlie Shanks here. It is the men's round of 16. It's number 8 seed Charlie Shanks versus the number 9 seed in a blind draw that took place last night. And Armando Ortiz, the winner, will face Sean Lenning.
And this is about exactly what we'd expect, Dave, from 2 guys tied in the rankings. They're tied at 1 game all, and now it's just 1 point separating them here in this tiebreaker. And remember, Dave, 4 minutes ago, it was Charlie Shanks leading 6-0 in this tiebreaker, and Armando Ortiz has hit just 3 shots, not including his serves, to cut into that deficit, and he now trails 5-6.
John Bike and Alan Garner will be coming up next in their men's round of 16 action. Garner, the number 5 seed, John Bike, the number 12 seed. This is the Race for 8, sponsored by Simple Green at simplegreen.com, as well as the World Players of Handball streaming live at racefor8.com. Charlie Shanks representing the Tucson Gunslingers, and Mondo Ortiz representing the Salt Lake City Aces. 5-6. Referee is Luis Cordova.
You really feel like the match is in Armando's hand, Dave. If Armando's making his shots, there's really nothing Charlie can do about it. Charlie's capitalizing on Armando's errors, but if Armando doesn't make those errors, it's Armando's match to win. He scored 6 points in a row here now, Dave.
Boy, he almost got another free point right there off that amazing serve, Dave.
And Charlie Shanks just gets enough of a reverse on that right fist as he comes over it, Dave. And Armando unable to make the get. And now it's Charlie Shanks going to the right crack. Not a good serve, and Armando doesn't do much with the return. And he gives Charlie a big setup here. And Charlie with a very nice shot there with the left hand. That ball very nearly merged with the left side wall before Charlie hit it, but he takes it just in time.
First one to 11 wins this round of handball action. Shanks is closest at 7-6. Andy's in the box, second serve. Gonna go high here.
That's a terrible second serve there from Charlie. Just a complete lack of concentration. And that's probably the worst shot of the match from Armando, but he gets away with it, Dave, as he catches the deep right crack, and I can tell you he was not going for that.
Well, and you know because you were on this court previously, but those corners in the back are very fast. Ball hits that right wall or left wall, it'll just skirt around very fast. That's why Charlie's able to catch up to him, because he's long, but he was unable to in that last one.
Charlie rushes his swing there, Dave. You could see he was not relaxed on that back wall setup.
Now you see Mondo really pumping himself up. Now he's one of the most headstrong players on the tour. Even though he's trying to work his way back, you'll see that he can actually rise above as good as anybody can.
Charlie Shanks goes for the shot there, and Armando somehow missing an unbelievably easy re-kill. Now, don't forget, Dave, Charlie Shanks has some scar tissue in tiebreakers. He did defeat Luis Moreno in an 11-9 tiebreaker, beat Alan Garner 11-2 in the tiebreaker, but he lost 11-10 to Nadi Jr. and recently 11-9 to the Buzzsaw McCarthy. So he's thinking about some of those heartbreaks.
Boy, and there's just a miss hit right there. Beautiful shot, though, from Mondo Ortiz. We're all tied at 7, and Charlie Shanks is going to tie his shoe. This is a good time to start tying. Try to unbreak that tie. Pun not intended.
Pun well played.
Thank you. Still wasn't intended, though. I'm not going to claim it.
Charlie Shanks hits these awkward service returns, Dave, but they usually end up being pretty good. And now it's Mondo taking the lead for the first time in the tiebreaker after seemingly out of this match.
Well, Mondo is on an 8-1 run right now, going to 11. And if you see an 8-1 run in a tiebreaker, that doesn't normally look good, Dave, for somebody.
Fortunately for Charlie, he started the tiebreaker on a 6-0 run, so he's still in it. And Armando with another skip there.
That could have been 9-7 if Mondo would have converted that left corner kill. It's really quiet here at the TRC. And the gallery is packed. It's early in the day, too, so that's a short ball, not called.
I believe the serve was good, and Charlie Shanks somehow misses probably the easiest shot that he's had all match. A point-blank right-hand corner kill that he drives into the ground. I believe, Dave, that'll be the difference in this match. I think it's over now.
That's not called.
Big setup. I think it was good.
I thought it was short. And Charlie's going to peel, and they could go to us, but so we want to make sure that they get ready in the van. He's going to come to us now. Let's go to our van and see if we can take a look at this. I think it's short by an inch or so.
Okay,
just watching it live.
I'm not going to reserve an opinion just yet, Dave. I'm going to wait with an open mind.
Stop right there. Now we're going too fast, too far.
I actually saw it, and it looked good.
Let's slow it down.
My first opinion, Dave, is that it's good.
Let's stop right here. Slow, slow until it hits the ground. Oh, it's over.
Well, that was the same serve that I hit, Dave, that you called short at 16 all in the second game. It hit the exact same spot, yet right now you're saying it's over.
Watch the ball hit right there. It's up to you. Come back to the line again.
To me, if it's not conclusive, Dave, which it isn't here, I think you stay with the call. The call was good.
That was a short serve.
Yeah, it's inconclusive right there.
But they're calling the serve short somehow.
Yeah, we didn't give our ruling yet, so we're saying inconclusive. I don't know who came.
I'm not really sure, Dave, what happened there. Someone was in our booth and might have relayed their own message.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
And unfortunately for Mondo, Dave, should be leading 9-7. Instead, he's receiving serve at 7-8. That's a huge difference. I actually, Dave, don't believe that instant replay is a good indicator, Dave, calling these short serves. And I believe, Dave, it could very well end up costing Mondo this match. I know that some people believe it could have cost me that second game.
I don't know who those people would be, but
They're in the gallery.
They must not watch handball very often. Uneducated handball players would think that. I think you lost your second game by 5 points, and
That's true.
you're talking about a short serve is the reason
At
why?
16 all.
Okay.
You wouldn't understand momentum, but that's okay.
That momentum was probably lost when you lost your head because of that, which is, well, your fault.
Charlie Shanks hits a pretty good second serve there. He's got the setup, but he overhits it. And Armando completely overhitting there. And look at that terrible court positioning there from Armando as he pins himself on Charlie Shanks' left hip. And now, Dave, Armando looked like he had the 9th point. Now, all of a sudden, it's Charlie Shanks with 9 and Armando Ortiz with 8. Here's a huge setup, and he does not put it away.
Ooh, that's a tough call right there from the referee.
Armando knows he got away with something there, Dave. I believe this has evened itself out with bad calls now, as Armando was robbed on that short call, and now it's Armando given a reprieve.
I don't know how it's relieved itself, because Mondo would actually have 9 points on the board right now.
Well, Charlie would have 10 though, if that was not called a hinder.
It's 9-8. Shanks is up.
That was just a terrible call, but Charlie Shanks should have put that ball away anyway. And Charlie Shanks, I don't know, Dave, if that was just a complete mishit or if he was going for a dump re-kill, but Dave, it didn't look like the way the ball came out of his hand that he was intending to hit that shot. Looked like he was just trying to get the ball back.
Here it is, possible game and match. Serves 8.
And Charlie Shanks with absolutely an amazing serve there. And that's really heartbreaking there for Armando Ortiz, Dave, who looked like he had the 9th point and all the momentum to win that match. And Armando, unfortunately for him, Dave, just comes up a hair short, Dave. And it's difficult in sports, Dave, because the line between winning and losing is so thin among these great players. And unfortunately, Dave, somebody has to go home a loser while the other guy advances, and it'll be Charlie Shanks facing Sean Lenning, Dave. And let's not forget, Sean Lenning has yet to play in this event. Charlie Shanks just played a war here. You have to wonder what he'll have left just about 4 or 5 hours from now when he challenges Sean Lenning, who will be fresh. And Sean Lenning will be hungry as well, Dave, and we'll certainly get into that as we prepare for that matchup. But Sean Lenning, Dave, remember, coming off really a poor performance for him at the U.S. Open. Lost badly to Robbie the Buzzsaw McCarthy. Did end up winning 5th place there. But, Dave, I know that you've spent some time with Sean Lenning here in Tucson, and he's really rededicated himself. And you said that he's your unequivocal pick here to win this event.
Now, normally I wouldn't come out and actually say a pick publicly. I just don't feel it's right at times. But I have been able to see Sean Lenning firsthand, and it's unbelievable how good Sean Lenning is playing right now. So he is certainly my pick to win this tournament. And it's going to be an amazing run for Charlie Shanks to get through Sean Lenning. And if he does, then he's going to be my pick. But needless to say, we've got another match coming up. John Bike versus Alan Garner next. You stick around. We'll have more action in about 5 minutes here in Tucson, Arizona for the Simple Green Race for 8. Stick with us.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
For 20 years, the Inner City Handball Association has educated, mentored, and served young people through handball. Young people that participate in the Inner City Handball Association programs have a high graduation rate from high school and continue on to college. Inner City Handball teams are good athletes, good students, and good ambassadors for the sport of handball. We need your help to continue our work. Inner City Handball Association is a registered 501c3 tax-exempt charity. Please donate today. Thank you.